Here we are, we got 2015 Chevy Trax. We have a tire light on and it's saying right rear is at 14 PSI. The tire shop is not open today, so we are going to put the spare on. All right, so as far as getting the spare tire, we will be removing our mat in the back. And then there is a little pull cord here. And it looks like we can pull all of this up to get to the spare tire. And it looks like all the tools are back there as well. We're going to use a floor jack, but this is where the spare tire is, just in the back section. So we'll get that out and then we'll get it ready to roll. All right, so the jack is in here. And I'll try to do this with one hand. This is in a styrofoam case, so we can just pull that whole thing out. It's got the jack in there. I don't know if there's other tools involved or what, but there's the jack, so that'll come out. And then we will, looks like we have to, the tire is like almost bolted down, so we just need to unscrew this deal here. So we'll just unscrew this, and then this should bring the spare. Should be able to get the spare off. So there's our spare tire right there. I don't think there's anything else we need. I don't see any other tools, but maybe the jack is enough, so we'll find out. So I'm just gonna do this the way that you do it on the side of the road. So it looks like we will unscrew this a little bit, and then we should be able to get the jack out of here. A little styrofoam case. I'm assuming, I don't know if there's supposed to be a tool to raise and lower this, but you can see on the instructions, it is telling you where to jack the car up. So this is going to be the rear right, so there should be a spot just underneath here. Normally it's on a pinch weld of some sort. So I will take a look, see what we can find as far as where the car should be jacked up. Okay, so it looks like the little notch right here is probably where the jack point is. So in relation, there's the back tire, back rear wheel well, just underneath the back door, and then there's a little notch right there. So that's where we'll jack the car. And then it just so happens on the top of this jack, there is a raised portion that is actually going to go right inside that notch. So that's how you're going to jack the car. 2015 Chevy Trax. All right, so we got the jack under there. I'm not sure where the tool is, but it's supposed to be a 3/4 inch, which is also the same size as the lug nuts. So 3/4 inch to take off the lug nuts and to jack up the car. If you don't have the tool, which apparently I don't, I'm just gonna throw a ratchet and a 3/4 inch in there for this. So that way, if I ever run into a problem, I will be able to jack up the car, and I will also be able to take off the wheel. So we are just taking these, we're just taking these lug nuts off. So we got this car jacked up. We'll take the lug nuts off, all 5, and then we'll take this off the car and put the spare on. All right, so we got the spare on there. It is significantly smaller than the regular size tire. And it also says you can only go up to 80 kilometers per hour. I don't know what the translation is to miles per hour, but normally 35-ish when you're driving on a spare. So I'll let this down, and then the torque specs for these lug nuts is 100 foot-pounds. Normally, if you're doing this on the side of the road, just use your body weight to lock them up. It gives you enough time to get to the tire shop. They can normally, like a Les Schwab is where I normally go. That's going to fix your tire, repair it for free most times. So that's what we'll do. Just a quick video on how to use a torque wrench. So on this particular instance, we are going to be taking this up to 100 foot-pounds, which you can see the 100 right there. So we are going to twist this clockwise, and then you can see on the ring down here, it goes in 2 foot-pound increments. So we will twist this clockwise until it gets flush. Basically, it's on 0 right now. We'll twist it clockwise until it gets to 100, lined up with 0. And then at the end here is what we tighten up to keep it from backing off. So I'll do that real quick. So just a disclaimer, all torque wrenches are just a little bit different, but you can see that I've got this all the way tightened up to just that line that leads to 100. And then this line is lined up with 0. You can see the 0 on the black right there, in between the 2 and the 18 foot-pounds. So you could back this off and have it at 98, or you could go a little bit further and get it to 102, but this is at 100 and 0 extra feet. So that's where we're at, 100 foot-pounds. Then I will tighten this at the end here. This is like a little, I don't know what you would call it, but a back off or tightening up bolt. And so we'll tighten that up, and then that should lock it in at 100 foot-pounds. So as far as the torque wrench is concerned, I was told that you are supposed to store it in the lowest setting, and this one just happens to be Newton meters of 9.1. So I try to lock that in at 0, tighten this thing up, and it just so happens to be where it would lay flat. So I think that's the way we're supposed to do it. Leave some comments, let me know what your thoughts are, or if you know better. All right, so after you let the wheel and the tire, the car down onto the ground, onto the tire, you are going to tighten these. Normally they suggest you do it in a star pattern, which all that means is you'll go from this one to this one, to this one, to this one, to this one. So tighten it in a star pattern, and that should do you good until you can get it to the tire shop. And then normally you just put the old tire back in the back of the vehicle. I think that there's some specifically for this vehicle, like a strap down or something. I don't think this one's gonna be able to get tied down with the nut that we had before. So I'll figure that out in a second, and I'll let you guys know. All right, so just for reference, we took this tire off, and we see that it looks like there might be like a nail or a staple or something right here. So I always like to kind of take a look and see what might be the issue. And then I feel like even further along, we may have found another something right here also. So who knows what's actually happening, but we'll take it to the tire shop. Like I said, we normally get our tires from Les Schwab, so they take care of all this stuff for free. So they will do whatever they do. They will patch the tire, and then they will send us on our way. So what I would suggest is, whatever your vehicle is, I would suggest that you look in the owner's manual, because it tells you essentially what to do in the case of a flat repair. So I believe in this case, it tells us to tie this thing down with a included strap. So we will put it in the tire in here, and then with our wheel, it has a center cap. So I feel like in order to put it over that little stud, we might have to pop out the center cap and just set it in there so they can put it all back together. So the owner's manual says that we are to put the jack, which, just in case you were wondering, this space that goes from right here all the way across is where the jack handle is supposed to go. So it is apparently missing from this vehicle. That might be something that I'll see if I can replace. I plan on keeping this vehicle for a long time. We do have some tie downs in the back. So our tire will go on top of this, and then there is a tie down right there, driver's side, tie down on the passenger side. There is a tie down passenger side rear, front side, or driver's side rear. So I believe we will probably maybe X pattern over the top of this tire after we get it in there, but we will put this jack back inside the compartment here.